So again, thank you for being here at this month's Care Answered webinar. My name is Nicole Christensen. I am a board certified patient advocate and the president of Care Answered, as well as the author of the best-selling book From Crisis to Calm. So Care Answered provides patient advocacy and care coordination. We get healthcare done. We do that by navigating people through the healthcare system to access their best care while giving their loved ones peace of mind. We really love to provide these webinars to inform and empower clients, caregivers, other professionals, just everyone. And this topic in particular regarding fraud and scams is so important and relevant. It seems like spring is also scam season. Right after taxes, IRS calling us, every person. And actually, I just read recently that these kinds of scams are affecting more younger people than ever before, likely due to the social media and other aspects of technology that is scamming people. So it's really relevant to each and every one of us. So tell your friends, your clients, your family members. I actually, before the pandemic, there was an article in Newsday that they called me for regarding scams and frauds for seniors. And I had a client that avoided a scam, and there she was on the cover of that story, a picture of her, but it seems never ending. So I reached out to our Care Answered family so that we could have information on this important topic. And so I'm going to introduce Judy Serino. She is a community service representative and home care consultant for Home Instead, a worldwide leading provider of non-medical companion and personal home care services. She received her BA in psychology and sociology from Stony Brook University and has a certification in integrative nutrition. Her involvement in the senior community began when she became a caregiver for her father, who suffered from Alzheimer's disease. She serves as a senior advocate, providing seminars on dementia care, senior fraud prevention, as well as nutrition, immunity, and disease prevention. So without further ado, I'll have Judy talk to us about scams and frauds and how to avoid them. You can share your screen now, Judy.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Nicole, for that great introduction. I am going to try to, let's see, share my screen, make sure we're all good to go here. Okay, so thanks again, Nicole, and everyone for being here. This is, like she said, such an important topic. I hope you share this with all your friends and family. I'm going to go through a lot of material. So, but if you could save your questions till the end, Nicole will help me to keep track. If you want to put a question in the chat so you don't forget it as it comes up in your head, you could just chat it and then we'll get to it at the end. And also I'll be giving Nicole just like a few pages of a handout that we'll have at the end. I'm going to give you some resources and websites and links. Okay, so hopefully that will help you. So I work with Home Instead Senior Care, doing their community relations. We have, since it is a worldwide franchise, we have 5 locations throughout Long Island. I work out of our Hauppauge and our Huntington office, both offices I work for. They cover most of Suffolk County. Hauppauge provides caregivers that are companions, and we also provide licensed aides, HHAs and PCAs. And the difference is a companion can go to your home, assist you with daily activities. They do light housekeeping, meal preparation, medication reminders, and they have transportation, so they can take you to and from appointments, grocery shopping for you while you stay home or come with you, doctor appointments. So they'll have transportation. Our aides do not, but they are licensed. We're insured and bonded. And they can do bathing, grooming, and dressing. So anything, and also ambulation. So if someone needs to be moved around or lifted in and out of a chair, etc. So I'm so happy to be here today to represent Home Instead and helping you not only recognize scams, we're going to go over the top scams so that you can recognize them when you get that phone call, that email, but also how to report them and what to do if you are a victim, which hopefully after this you will not be. Although I have to say, and I'm going to start my first slide, let's hope this works. Believe it or not, this is the actual figure of reported total fraud losses. Now, usually I do this talk for seniors, communities. This is for all total fraud. Good thing, because that is a big number. $170 billion lost per year in total fraud. So that'll include internet fraud, phone scams, telemarketing, things like that. But that's for mostly, I believe that's just what's reported. So most people, number one, they don't even know they can report it. And number two, sometimes they don't even know how to report it if they want to report it. So we're going to talk about that at the end. But yeah, this is a big problem today. We have scammers now that they're not novices, just some kid sitting at home who's bored looking to make extra money. This is professionals that work all around the world. They're from all different countries in cubicles. They have managers. They work in offices, and this is their literal 9-to-5 job. And they are actually, a lot of them, IT professionals. They learn how to get into computer systems and program and set up websites and do all sorts of things so they can look legit and rip you off. So we're going to learn about that. So the first thing you want to look out for, the first big scam we're going to talk about is the IRS and Social Security spoofing scam. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this already. So what this is, it is a scam that will, usually it's a robocall, and the scammer will pretend to be from the IRS or Social Security, claiming you need to call them because, let's say the IRS, you owe back taxes. And if you do not call back, or if you're on the phone, press number 1 or say your name, you're going to get fined or thrown in jail. And the same with the Social Security call. We need your contact, your account information, or maybe they'll say your account was had fraudulent activity. You need to supply us with your account information, your Social Security number. That is the biggest red flag right there, is that you got a phone call, because the IRS or Social Security will never call you, number one, and they will never threaten you with jail time or fines on the phone. You'll usually get a letter in the mail if there's some business they need to handle with you, or if you initiated the call and you're waiting for a call back, that's when it's okay to pick up the phone if you know you called them and you're waiting for that call back, but they will never threaten you. Okay. So the next top scam is called the grandparent scam. So yes, this might target seniors, but you know, they're targeting younger and younger people, just saying there's a loved one, you know, they pretend to be maybe your son, not just your grandson, you're in jail. They say they're in jail. They're in the hospital, they had a car accident, they make up some tragic story so that, you know, they play to seniors' emotions. That's why seniors are the biggest victims, obviously, of this one. But they just play to your emotions, and they want you to act quickly, saying, oh, I can't hang up with you, you know, or else I'm going to get fined, thrown in jail overnight. Don't tell my parents. So what you want to do is hang up and say, I'll find out, you know, I'll help you, but I'm going to call back, you know, if you don't want to, if you're even suspicious, maybe you think it's the real deal. But what you want to do is call back your grandchild or your son or daughter at their number that you have. And 9 times out of 10, you'll see, probably 99% of the time, they're going to pick up the phone and say, what do you mean, grandma or mom or dad? I'm fine. I'm not in jail. This hasn't happened. So beware of these scams, and always ask detailed questions of a scammer. I've actually had seniors come up to me at these talks and say that they knew it was a scammer. So they kept questioning them. They would say, oh, you're in Boston. What, you know, I live around there. What town are you from? Where'd you go to school? And either they hang up or they'll like beat around the bush so you'll know. Okay, the next top scam is the gift card scam. So this encompasses a lot of different scams. It's really talking about the method by which the scammer will request a payment from you, whether they're pretending to be credit card company, a utility company. That's kind of a popular one. I know recently in the news, there was a couple on Long Island. They were scammed by a scammer that I believe they said they were from PSCG, a utility company that wanted payment in gift cards that they had owed them money. So as soon as you hear that a scammer that you owe them money somehow and you have to pay them in gift cards, it's a red flag 100% of the time. So it's always a scam. There's no way a company is going to ask you to pay them with gift card money. And if you're wondering why would I want to, how would they make me believe that? Scammers are very sneaky. Like I said, they're a lot of times they will text you or email you, even if you don't get a phone call, saying that you're due a refund, that they're from Amazon or Apple or Microsoft and your warranty expired. So you're going to get $300 back. So what they do is you click on their link or you call them, they'll tell you what website to go to. Meanwhile, it's their website where they can get control of your computer. And you'll see there's a little thing that they'll tell you to click that says, you know, will you allow this person on your computer or whatever. So now they have control of your computer. They either get into your bank account or ask you to log in. They can see your password, pretend that they can't, or they'll get you in there. Then they have you or them accidentally, I'm doing quotes in case you can't see, air quotes, they will pretend that they put in 2 extra zeros. So now they deposited money. Oh, they'll say, oh, I'm going to direct deposit right into your account. Now they'll direct deposit $30,000 instead of $300. Now, oh my gosh, I'm going to get in trouble. I made a mistake, or you weren't supposed to do that. They blame you sometimes. You put in 2 extra zeros. Meanwhile, you didn't do it. They did it. So it makes it look like they did, that it's there. And they have all kinds of ways to make the screen look like I said, they are usually IT professionals that do this all the time, all day. This is all they do. So they learn how to put up a phony bank screen to make it look like you have now this much money in your account, or they transfer your savings into your checking. So that's another way they do it. So now you owe them $28,700 or whatever it is. That's how they do it. So now you have to go and buy me gift cards. I've actually heard scams in action by on YouTube, and I'll tell you at the end about this. Nicole, remind me if I forget, because it's so good. It's actually entertaining. These YouTube scam baiters, they're called. They are IT cybersecurity professionals that try to catch scammers and keep them busy, because sometimes it's hard to stop them. They're across the world, you know, the earth, and some other country, but they'll try to keep them busy for hours on the phone, pretending to be a senior or somebody getting scammed. And they show you, and you can watch on their computer how a scam unfolds. So it's a good education. If you think, oh, I'll never get caught doing that, the smartest people have fallen for it, trust me. So they get into your system, and they'll figure out a way to make it look like you owe them money, and they'll ask you to pay in gift cards. So always be careful with this one, okay? It's always a scam. The next big scam, I'm sure you've heard a lot of, this is always on a talk show's topic, is romance scams. And this can be through not only dating apps, Facebook, any social media, just even an email. They might get a hold of your email account somehow and just send you a little friendly email. Maybe they live in another country and they're looking for somebody to write with, a little friend, you know, they could talk to, not necessarily dating, but it might start out harmless, and then they start to pretend to be in love with you and this and that. So this woman here in the picture, she thinks she's messaging with, you know, chatting with some soldier. Maybe he's away on active duty, but we don't know who is she really talking to. It could be a scammer, anyone. And there was a professional, I think it was a detective on some talk show. He said it's not a matter, if you're on a dating site, for instance, it's not a matter of if you're going to get scammed, it's a matter of when. And there are actual websites out there with pictures of people that they grabbed from social media apps like Facebook, and the scammers use that person's picture and put it up there. So you'll see, like on talk shows, these people thought they were in love with, let's say, that army sergeant there. And meanwhile, he has no idea his picture was even being used. And sometimes they actually have them meet, and all the time this person was in love, thinking they're in love with this person. So there are signs that usually it's obvious, and we can all say, oh, I'm too smart, I'll never fall for that. But sometimes it's even people wanting to just be friends. If you're much older and they even admit they're younger and they just want someone to chat with, but become friends with you, want to borrow money, there are red flags. The first one is bad grammar, because most of these scammers are from other countries that do not speak our language very well. There'll be lowercase. You'll even see sometimes text. I've gotten text messages, not for a romance scam, but maybe from Amazon in quotes, but it's maybe lowercase a, and just the way it's worded, it's not professional. The other thing is they'll declare love so quickly to you within a matter of weeks. Love you, I want to get married, I want to come visit you so we could be together forever. All this romantic language, which you will find, as the next note says, they'll copy the actual lyrics from songs and poetry from online and put it in their email or their messaging to you. So you can even try this. Hopefully you're not getting scammed, but if you are a friend, maybe you know someone, or maybe one of your clients, if that's what it is. If you have seniors, especially, seniors are falling for it all the time. If you cut and paste some of the words from their letters from the scammers and just put it in a Google search, it'll pop up as a poem or a song. Another thing is they say they want to meet you, like I said, but they say, oh, something came up, have to be with my children. They'll make up a story, or something can't meet you, I don't have money for airfare. And that's a big one, of course. They'll say they don't have the money for the airfare, so can you lend me the money? And of course they take your money and never show up because something happened, or the flight got canceled and now I have to work this week, I can't come, maybe next week, putting it off. And another one is that when you try to do your virtual chats online, FaceTime or anything, your camera works fine, they can see you, but guess what? You can't see them, it's all blacked out. Oh, my camera's not working. So that's a sign. So beware of those. Now, here are some other, they are still popular scams. I mean, there's so many out there, I couldn't even possibly list. We only have less than an hour. Another type of scam is healthcare or insurance fraud, where, people are billed for unnecessary medical tests or equipment that they are billed for, or the insurers billed for, but they're never received, or somehow they got your Medicare number. And I know they recently changed that from, it was your Social Security. So always keep those numbers safeguarded. Don't just carry them around or leave it in your car in a little pocket window thing where someone can see it, or don't leave it out on a table if you have any people coming in and out of the home. Any of those numbers. So the next type of scam is counterfeit drugs. If you're going online to order medication, a lot of times there'll be companies out there that will sell you medication. However, it's laced with placebo drugs or lower cost drugs and still charging you a lot of money. So always try to go with a reputable company that or website, and go to a resource like, obviously, somebody in the medical, medical advisor in your circle, or friend, family, or a resource like a magazine you get, AARP magazine might have some references. What they do is they also will pose as Social Security or Medicare, and ask to get your account information. They'll just set up a fake website and just have you enter your medical and your social and all this stuff. So that's why you have to be so careful today. Like I said, these scammers are professional, and they will make it look like they're professional IT, technical professionals. So they will try to make it look like a real legitimate website. And then they pretend sometimes to be FDA or DEA agents, drug enforcement, saying that you're going to be thrown in jail or threaten you with fines because you're on an illegal website buying drugs illegally. So all of these things, that's a red flag. Okay.
One
And
second, Judy. I just want
yeah.
to put up some comments. So
Oh, sure.
is one question that I can help answer as well. Any way to prepare seniors regarding some of these scams, like don't answer the phone unless you recognize the number? Mark, that's a good suggestion. I also know that I have many clients whose their loved ones have kind of set up their cell phones. Sometimes it's tricky for people, so that it honestly doesn't ring unless it's a number that they're aware of. Or if you've ever called somebody and it says, oh, no, this person can't pick up, they're not even seeing it because they've
Right.
blocked all numbers except the ones that they know. But it is a difficult thing. It's a very difficult thing.
Actually, we were going to get to that, and that was going to be one of my suggestions. So we're going to get to the second half, is going to be how to prevent this too. But that was great, because that's exactly what you should do, is never pick up a call unless you recognize the number. And there is a website, and I'm sorry, I don't have it on me. That was Stop. I will send it in the email with the handouts. It's
Okay.
like Robo Stop or something that you can set up your phone. I have a Google Pixel cell phone, and mine actually will screen the call for you. And so that stops scammers right there. It'll say the caller's not available. What are you calling about? And they'll leave a message, but I could tell right away, and I won't pick up if I see it looks not legitimate. But there are certain things you can do, which is very true with that. But yeah, definitely don't pick up if you do not recognize the number.
The other one is, as a rule of thumb, Steve said, if the phone rings and your name does not appear on the screen, or I do not know who you are, I let it go to voicemail. If no voicemail, then I ignore it.
Right.
As it a scam. Absolutely. That was just what we were saying.
If it's an emergency, and if it's a family member that needs you, obviously they're going to leave a voicemail, or when you have a phone at home that you can hear the message coming through, you can pick it up while they're leaving the message. So if it's an emergency, you'll get that call, you'll get that message.
And also, I think that one of the things I do is, if it's calling more than once, I'll be, in a meeting, so I'll just assume not to, but if it then rings again, then maybe it's somebody, but everybody has their own kind of rule of thumb.
Exactly.
And then Olga suggested, when folks call, I can see their phone numbers on my cell. What are these phone numbers they use? I can answer a little bit about that, Olga. A lot of times they use regular numbers. They've really hijacked people's phone numbers. I actually one time got a really angry message on my cell phone because they had used my cell phone to do whatever it is that they were doing. And so I called them back and I said, that's not where the call actually originated from. So they can get these numbers from anywhere. Yeah. And they also like to use your same exchange. So
yes, right.
It'll be your area code, but the first three numbers, if they're the same as yours, the likelihood of that, unless it's somebody you're on the same phone plan or something,
yes,
it's probably a scam.
That's so funny you brought that up, Nicole, because today I got a call, and my first three are 338, and it was a 338 number. So I knew right away it was going to be a scam. Like, because I don't know anyone with the same exact three numbers. It's my work cell. So picked it up, and I knew I could, and it was a recording. So this is another thing to be aware of. We were going to get to it later, but I'm glad you're covering it now. They said your Medicare plan, we have other options for your Medicare, blah, 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 all this about Medicare. And right away, I'm like, not even on Medicare, number one. But what I like to do is now, I used to just hang up because I didn't have time, but I was in between going to another appointment. So I said, I'm going to keep them busy so they don't make another call. I want to keep that line busy. So now I'm trying to do what those other scam scammers do. So I was just like, pressing the numbers, going along with it, as long as I know I'm not giving out any information. And then they connected to an actual live person and had an accent, a very thick accent, obviously not American. And when I asked, where are you from? I don't know how. I just started talking to him, and I pretended to be a senior so he would think, he has a good victim here. And then I'm just saying, I was having fun. I don't recommend this because if you don't have
No.
experience in knowing what a real scam is, you might fall for it. Anyway, saying he was from Boston. And then when I said, oh, what are your favorite sports teams? My son lives there. Where do you live? What town? He hung up.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, they'll go for you with those numbers, but if it says private or unlisted, or it's a number you don't recognize, especially the area code or the first three matches yours, it's usually a scam. But thank you for that. So, and I
Absolutely.
don't
You
want
can
to take
move
up
on.
too much time with
Yeah, go
that, and
ahead.
we will definitely get to that. So the funeral fraud one, people will pretend to be from, a funeral home or a cemetery that doesn't even exist, and they'll try to sell you their services in advance. So please go with, again, something in your neighborhood or that friends or family recommended. Another big one is telemarketing, which, as you see here, seniors usually are the big ones that fall for it, but anyone can fall for it today. And sometimes it's not only a phone call that you won a sweepstakes or a vacation. Sometimes it's a check in the mail that actually is a real check. So imagine, I might even fall for that because you go to the bank and you can deposit it and they accept it. But guess what? After about a 5-day, I think they say there's like a certain period of time, 5 days, where it'll bounce. But before that 5 days, the check will give you a phone number to call, the letter that you get with the check. You call them and they'll say, oh, in order to get your money right away, just send me the taxes on that. Or, to make sure, or, if you want to cash this check, either before you cash it or after, they'll tell you there's taxes you owe on it, and there goes your money. And the other thing they do is pretend to be charities that they want you to donate to. If it's a vacation you won, they'll say that you have to pay a deposit on it. So unless you remember entering something, I wouldn't do it. And if they don't allow you to hang up and to verify it in some way, and how can I call to make sure this is legitimate, then do not fall for it, because they try to create a sense of urgency. Okay, and the next type of fraud is internet fraud, which, we kind of were talking about already. The one thing I think I mentioned, like the scammers set up their own websites. So you'll go shopping, you Google for maybe a scarf for a gift, and you'll get a website. And guess what? It's fake. Sometimes I don't know if I almost fell for it, but I noticed right away, I was like, this does not look real. And then I went on this website. It had pictures of selling jet skis and lipstick and clothes and snow boots, and it was just weird. And I said, this doesn't look right. And it didn't have prices next to anything. So because I had a feeling, I typed in the name of the website with scam next to it, and it came up that it was, Better Business Bureau or whatever reported as scam. So that's a way to do it too. The other way they use internet to get you is just calling to say they're from, like I said, Dell, Microsoft, or some computer company, or sending you an email that you have a virus on your computer, we need to remove it. And again, they use the same method as what I told you before with the gift card scam. They will give you a link that will give them control of your computer. They'll deposit money. They're not really depositing money, obviously, but now you owe them money. So that's how they turn it around. Or they'll just say, you owe me this for fixing your virus or your computer. These big companies don't have the time to go through every single person and, remove viruses from their computer. They wouldn't know. So don't fall for it unless you initiated the call. Another one, a big area, is financial exploitation in the form of advance fees, prime bank notes, pyramid, Ponzi, Nigerian letter fraud schemes. All of these that I'm listing, I don't have time to get into all of them and explain them. Anytime it sounds like someone says to you, I'm going to send you money and you hold it in your account, and you can earn the interest on it, and then you just give it back to me, whatever, I'm in another country as a favor, or anything that sounds too good to be true, that you're going to invest money and earn back so much money on it or make interest, or it's usually too good to be true. It usually is. So be careful of that. But these types of financial schemes, and all of the ones I'm talking about, are listed on the IRS.gov website. And I'm going to get to that at the end, Nicole. So there's like a link, and I'll put it in the handout. Okay. Also, obviously, identity theft is another big one. These scammers today are just calling, asking for account verification, or they're sending an email saying your account has been tampered with. We need to verify your account info. So they're going to ask for your account number, your social security number, things like that, your credit card number, and the code or the password. If you don't know where this is coming from and you didn't initiate it, do not click on that link. Do not call the number they give you. You want to, let's say it's from Citibank. You take your Citibank credit card, turn it over, look at the number on the back, or look at your statement, and that's the number you're going to call. You're not going to call the number on the email, even if sometimes it is a legitimate email from the bank, but 9 times out of 10, you'll know if there was fraud on your account. What you can do is set up a fraud alert. I get text alerts if my account is overdrawn by a certain amount, even on my credit cards. If there was more than $100 spent in a day or whatever, it'll alert me to that. Or somebody used my account outside of the United States. So you can ask your bank or your credit cards, can I set up what kind of fraud alerts, maybe text alerts you can get, okay, to prevent that. Because what the scammers will do is set up accounts in your name with that information. Okay, so another type of scam that has been obviously prevalent lately is the COVID-19 scams, starting with the stimulus checks. Now, we always, we thought that they were over, but now we're hearing maybe there might be another one coming, or that recently came to only a certain group of people. So you might, you know, these scammers will try to do anything they can to get a piece of that pie, and they'll call you, or they'll send an email or a text saying that we can help you get your stimulus check, and we'll direct deposit it. All you have to do is give us your account number, right? So do not trust any outside source that's coming to you. That's not how the stimulus check program works. It goes by how you got your IRS refund. If you were lucky enough to get a refund, it will be coming to you via direct deposit, your stimulus check, if that's how you got your refund, or it will be sent as a check in the mail if that's how you get your IRS refund normally. Okay, so you don't need anyone helping you with that. It's going to be automatic. Another thing that came up, this was probably even before the vaccine, was fake COVID treatment products promising it was going to get rid of, you know, COVID overnight or prevent it, unless it's, you know, a legitimate supplement or a company that you know is good and trustworthy, and it has certain vitamins in it that people recommend. I know vitamin D is a really big one that they're saying now is proven to show can reduce your chances of getting COVID. So things like that. But if somebody has this made up name product or something, don't believe it. Do your research first. And lately, unfortunately, a lot of phony COVID testing sites are coming up. So just because somebody's in a big orange hazmat suit under a tent, especially in the city, they're saying they literally, people are getting that savvy of popping up these little COVID test sites just to get your medical numbers, account information, or your social security number, and even like the vaccine sites. So just be very cautious and careful, and go with sites that your medical provider has given you. Okay, so now how do we prevent? We want to put safety into practice. And so here's some just for technology things you can do. Number one, this sounds obvious, but believe it or not, the biggest passwords, the most popular passwords today is the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the word password. Or people will just leave the default password. Maybe they get a security camera system, the Ring doorbell, or your Wi-Fi equipment. When Optimum or Verizon comes and sets something up for you, always go in and change the password. Well, I always ask them while they're here setting it up, please come, you know, show me how to get into the system to change that password that's defaulted. Usually they'll write it down for you, and everyone just tucks it away right in a drawer or on the board and says, okay, here's our Wi-Fi password. Hackers have a way of getting into their system and finding all the default passwords. So right away, you're leaving yourself vulnerable to them getting into your server system. So you want to create a password that is not any personal information, no birth dates, not even your dog name or your kids' names or birthdays, because guess what? They even follow you on Facebook and social media now. So they will know your dog name, your kid's name, if they're that savvy and are more connected to you than, you know, maybe they follow you and then they somehow got more information. I don't mean to scare you, but I do mean to scare you, because it is getting scary out there. The more people post, you know, they're learning more about people and what their possible passwords can be. So be careful. Another way to secure access is to lock your device, especially like your phones or your iPads. There's a way to set it in settings that after a few seconds or minutes, it will automatically black out to a lock screen, that you need a PIN or a fingerprint or your face print to, you know, image to unlock. And also you can get a text alert. So when you're accessing, say, your bank account online with a password, you can do two-step authentication, and it'll make you have to get a text to enter the code beforehand. So what else we want to do is think before acting, is to call the company directly. Never feel pressure that you can't hang up the phone unless you give them your account information. You know, even if they say you have fraud activity, it's so scary, so that you think, oh my gosh, I better tell them this is Chase calling me. More than half the time, it's a scam if they call you. So please hang up the phone, call your bank directly and say, is there any fraud activity? Can I speak to the fraud department? And then even let them know, say, I got a call saying it was from you guys, or an email. And they'll right away be able to correct you and say, oh no, you know, I've heard people say that they've gotten, the bank will tell them, we're getting a lot of calls about that. Like PSEG, they knew, and they even send out letters saying, don't just take anyone's word for it that they're pretending to be us. You know, call us directly first and use your account number when you're calling from the number on your statement. And here's a little sample of how, you know, people fall for some fake, you know, email that will come that's saying, we need your account information. Google will send out some kind of, you know, letter pretending that something's wrong with your account. We need your ID and password. And even they ask for your age. Why would Google ask your age? This is definitely a red flag. So if you're ever just not sure, throw it out. Or if it's, let's say this wasn't, I don't know if Google, if you send it, I don't know even how you would send it to Gmail. It's such a big company, but maybe you could send like a Chase one to your local bank, just so they see it and are aware of it. You can forward it, but don't answer it. Another thing is to make sure, like I said, these scammers are following people on social media and grabbing pictures and getting information on your family names and dog names and this and that. And if you're on vacation, they'll know. So be so careful what you share. You can set up privacy settings in your privacy, you know, account settings, and like who can see your posts. So you just want maybe just friends to see it, because sometimes it's defaulted to friends of friends or public. So anyone Googles your name in Facebook, they'll have all of your posts and what you're up to. So try to go, make sure you go in and secure it. And also your location settings. And even on your phone, when you take a picture, I don't want to get into this now, Nicole, it's probably complicated in settings. You can, there's a way for someone who's technologically advanced, and these guys are, they can look at your picture and download it and get information on the picture of where it was taken and when. So it's crazy today how easy it is to find things out about people, and some people aren't even aware of the information they're giving out when they share on social media. So just be cautious of that.
Yeah, absolutely, Judy, because even when you take pictures on your camera, often it'll say where you were, even though you didn't say it. So anything
Exactly.
that
It'll have a location, a map right there. Yeah.
it'll say it. So anything, potentially anything that you can see, somebody else can see if they hack into your information.
Exactly. So we want to be very careful. I don't know if I mentioned also setting up an antivirus and malware scams. And if you don't know how to do all that, hire a trusted IT professional. You know, call your local resources, friends, family that you can get that person's name from. Obviously, you don't want to Google it, or, you know, because that could lead to a scam. So be very careful who you trust on your computer. But even like your local Best Buy, wherever you bought your computer. Okay, so make sure you keep your systems up to date so they're not vulnerable to attacks. And also there's LifeLock, you know, and companies, businesses like that keep your your accounts on fraud alert always. Like they'll make sure that you're not listed on, I'm sure you've heard of the dark web. Like I was on one of my cards, the company, maybe it was like a Target debit card, had been hacked. So we had free, credit, like a LifeLock type of account security for like a year. So I got emails all the time like, oh, your name was found on the dark web in your email. So it will remove it and you can review and see what's happening. So ask your bank. Some of the banks do this for free. So ask your bank, your credit cards, speak to the fraud department and see what kind of free services they have to set your accounts up as to the max to prevent this from happening. Like, what can I do? So the one big thing you can do socially is to make sure you stay involved with family and friends, because people will start noticing if certain things, and we're going to talk about that in a bit, of how to keep, how to recognize signs that maybe a loved one or a friend is being scammed. But as long as you're around other people, they'll be able to tell, and help you. And they'll talk about the scams that are going around maybe. Make sure you shred your financial documents, anything with an account number, obviously your social security number, credit card, bank statements. We don't want to throw them away, and we definitely don't want to recycle them. There are a lot of local banks even that do like a shred event day. Even senior communities in your area have event that you bring the box and you can watch the truck like shred it right in front of you. Okay. Or if you have a fireplace, or you know someone that can help burn them in a safe way, that's the other way to safely get rid of them. Here's the one we were talking about. Don't pick up the phone unless you recognize the number. Okay. We don't need, if it's an emergency, a family member, they will leave you a message and call you again and again and again until you pick up, and you'll know it's them. You can also sign up for do not call lists so that you're not on the scammers list, because they actually do pay. You won't believe this, Nicole. They pay for lists that marketers use. A lot of us, if we're not on these do not call or do not mail lists that you could sign up online for to get off of the list, they get people's names, addresses, email addresses, and phone numbers. And the scammers have Excel sheets. Like I said, they work at an office and they will literally go through the name one by one. And they'll even write notes next to your name that you're vulnerable, that you are, you fell for it once, or one of them, maybe they might write, oh, never picks up. So if you don't pick up the phone, they'll stop calling you. But they keep a tab, and this is what they use, these lists. So if you call, you'll hopefully get off of these public lists. And the other way to prevent something from happening through the mail is to get direct deposit. If something is going from your pension, your benefits, your job, right to your account, into your account, that reduces the chances of a check getting stolen in the mail, because that is another big way. Even though we're talking about a lot of technology scams happening, still things happen through the mail, even at the post office. So the best thing to do is direct deposit for those constant deposits. And also make sure if you're getting a phone call, email, whatever it is, don't just blurt out or give out your personal information, credit card, even a birth date, or even don't even say your name. Sometimes you'll get a recording. It'll say, is this so-and-so? And they just want to record your name because they're going to use it to open an account in your name. So they're getting, like I said, just really savvy. So you don't have, when you get a phone call, that's like somebody inviting someone into your home. You have every right to not say a word and not give out any information. Even if they scare you into it, you ask where they're calling from, you hang up, and then you call that company that they supposedly are from and clear it up. Okay. Making sure I didn't forget anything. So here is another thing we were talking about. Looking for signs from a friend, family, or even seniors especially are vulnerable. So if you know anyone that has unpaid bills, your loved one you visit, they have unusual bank activity, they have new best friends, they're on the phone all the time, new legal documents, maybe a friend that they made, and this is like maybe a real person that's coming over, not necessarily someone calling from around the world, but someone coming over pretending to help them out. might get them to sign away, something, power of attorney to them. Or so make sure, if you know a senior, especially living alone, that they're not signing their life away to someone. Keep an eye on their documents, suspicious signatures that is not theirs, and any implausible explanations of who you were on the phone with. Oh, no one, or where were you yesterday, or I couldn't reach you for 5 hours. And they just make up, you could tell it's a story, and they're trying to hide it, because a lot of times the scammer will say, don't tell anyone, don't tell your friends and family about me, or don't tell them you're going to the bank to withdraw money. And they really believe, and they get scared that if they say something, something will happen to them. Okay, so
I want to put some things out there really quickly, because people are saying some good things and I want to be able to share them. So Olga had a question: is it worth going to the local police if I know the scammer's phone number, name, and details of what was discussed, especially if the scammer says that he has contacted the local police department and someone will contact me? My answer is yes, especially if they're saying the local police department will call you. You call the local police department and be like, what's going on? And let them know. Obviously, the scammer's phone number may be fake and the name may be fake, but the details of what discussed, then you might be not only helping yourself, but also helping your community at large, because now the police will be aware of it.
Right.
Judy,
And that's what I was actually
that?
just getting to. I was going to say, maybe if you want to, I don't know if you want to hold those for a little bit, because I might get to what they're asking. So when you are scammed, no matter what, yes, please, no matter what they tell you, especially if they tell you, don't tell anyone or don't report it. But especially if you have their information, your local police department, even though you think, oh, they're not going to get my money back or whatever, this doesn't sound like it's going to ever get resolved. What you want is, you want to go to your local police department and report it, because you're going to get a copy of the police report. Now, I didn't get to the point where you close your accounts immediately. When you close your accounts, if any money has been, taken out and used by these scammers, you're going to obviously get the bill, and it's going to go in your credit report. So you want to also alert and eliminate you want to call the fraud department, and you want to alert the credit bureaus and all the fraud departments on those credit cards that you believe that they had the number for. And when you have a copy of your police report from your local police department, or wherever you think it took place, or wherever it is, you use that to say, I had identity theft, and that will give you proof that you don't owe these, the credit card companies, that you owe them money. Now they'll see evidence that you were scammed and that you had identity theft. So you'll initiate a fraud alert with account and credit bureaus, and that way you're all covered. So yes, always report it to the police locally. And now we're going to also talk about what to do at the end here. So you can go and follow up with it, annualcreditreport.com, to check. Always check. Every year you get one from each of the 3 credit bureaus. I'm going to send that information in the handout, Nicole. And what you would do is just check your credit report each year for any new accounts that open that you didn't open, because that means a scammer got your name and somehow opened an account in your name. And you can also report a scam that if you were scammed or you suspected it. There's an FBI website called IC3 for the Internet Crime Complaint Center. So that and the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, have websites to report it to as well. And these are all of the links, and this is going to be in the handout. The only one I just added recently, and I'll tell you, Nicole, and everyone listening, if you want to jot down the 4th one, I think it is, report for fraud complaints to FBI.gov. That's on the handout, but I just added the FTC website, reportfraud.ftc.gov. So jot that one down. I'll try to add it. But there's also, the AARP website is great. And you can actually join and get a Fraud Watch email list. They even have a fraud group that meets on Zoom from all around the country. They meet and talk about, a lot of people were victims of scams, but they talk about how they can educate their community to spread the word about it. The Fraud Watch Network. And AARP magazine, even if you're not a senior, is great. I mean, I think it's 50 and over now to to be a member, but you can get their magazines in the mail, and they just recently did a whole expose on scammers and interviewed, which I don't know, I'm sorry, I'm going to jump ahead. Oh, okay. I didn't put it on here, but I am going to, Nicole, remind me the name of the YouTubers. I want all of you to check this out because it's an education too. And there's so many videos. You could sit there all day, but some of them are actually entertaining because sometimes they make the scammers actually get so angry they start cursing and crying, and sometimes you'll see the scammers pretend to be upset that somebody they think they're being scammed, so they'll cry. These YouTube scammer, one is called Scammer Payback, and the other guy is Jim Browning. So AARP interviewed Jim Browning. He's in Scotland or Ireland, and he is an IT professional who does this on the side. He just catches, and he can actually trace. He gets into the scammer's computer and deletes their files, and then he'll also trace through the now I went blank with the, they could tell their IP address. So he'll find out they're right now, oh, they're in India, and he finds their exact location, what building that they're transmitting from with the computer with the IP address, and they will somehow get the local police involved. But unfortunately, this doesn't always work because guess what? Some of these neighborhoods that they're from are so poor that the police will fall for bribes from the scammers because the scammers are rich, living in mansions. They even did a report on Dateline. They tried to have a breakdown on these scammers, and they couldn't even take them down. There was a scammer, I think it was Jamaica. They have a lottery scam police department that on their car, there's an actual lottery scam police department. So they go around trying to find these scammers, but they have burner cell phones. So that means they have hundreds of phones and they use it once, or like she said, they use somehow other people's real cell phones. So that if you call that number back, you're getting some random person who doesn't even know their number was being used. So they're so sneaky. So the best thing you could do is just to report it so that we have, we meaning, the United States FBI has, is aware of it to help other people to become, from becoming a victim. And so you, like I said, have a copy of that report that you were scammed to protect your credit in the future. Okay. So that's why it's important to always report it. But here's,
Thank you, Judy. There's one other thing that Steve wrote that I've heard before too. He said, when you get those robocalls or if it's a potential scam, do not answer yes, right? Because
don't say yes or press
because
one,
then
or
they
say
can
your
record it to use it later, kind of like when you say your name to use it.
Right.
So
right.
I thought that was an important point. Thank you, Steve.
And that can I mention something else, Nicole? I forgot. With the robocalls, there is the website, I wrote it down. It's called NoMoRobo. So NoMoRobo, nomorobo.com. You register your phone number on there, and it will automatically filter out all robocalls that they know are reported scams. So, or it'll somehow it filters out the scam robocalls. So NoMoRobo. Yeah.
Thank you. And Olga, we have time for one more question, and that is the question of reserving plane tickets on the phone with an airline. They asked my credit card information to complete the transaction. Wondering if she should release that info.
Well,
I could say that I've done that before too. Yeah, right. If you initiated the call, I doubt somebody's calling you and say, hey, you want to go to trip to someplace, and you're just giving your credit card number.
Right. But, that would be suspicious. But make sure it's the real Delta number. And when you're on a website and you're not sure it's the real website, usually when you're going to enter any credit card info, there's a little lock and key icon right next to the address, and it has an HTTPS. So they pay for that extra security, SSL security option, the legitimate websites. So you'll know that means your information will be protected. And I wanted to mention, so all of this I do, and everyone who thinks they're too smart to get scammed, I recently got scammed. And I do these talks how often, but this is what happened. I was on Instagram, which I really don't go on a lot. I don't go on social media a lot. It was late at night. I was checking, a friend sent something, a video. So I go on, I'm looking, and all of a sudden an ad pops up. I'm scrolling from Wayfair. It had the Wayfair logo, which of course scammers can cut and paste. And I even knowing this, but I was on this app, and I felt like it was a safe environment. So I'm looking, and it said there was a sale on some kind of planter thing, and it had a picture of a woman with flowers. I said, okay, 2 for $50, whatever. It was late at night. I'm tired. I said, oh, there's only 2 left. Again, they create the sense of urgency, right? And there was a PayPal screen, and I said, okay. So I clicked the link, and it led me to their page, not thinking to look at the link at the top again. When late at night, I just want to do it quick. I was like, oh, this is right on Instagram. I literally thought, see, this is even naive of me, because it's on Instagram or Facebook doesn't mean it's legitimate. And now they're saying Facebook has a ton of scams on there that they pretend to be legitimate businesses that you can order things from. So what you want to do is go on the actual website of that product, product name or store name. I ordered it, but thankfully I used PayPal, and on PayPal, it went through my Amex. So I had 2 ways of protection. I got my money back, because after a week, I didn't even get a confirmation email. That was red flag number 1. And I didn't get a tracking email, and I never got it in the mail. So I went on PayPal. I said, I never received this item. You just do it online, like you fill it out. I didn't have to call them. They emailed me back. They're looking into it. And it turns out the email that was on the PayPal receipt, because of course I didn't open the email from PayPal. I just looked at that. Oh, PayPal got my payment. Okay. I saw the headline of the email. I get too many emails. So now I know to open it. The email from it was called Online Mall, not Wayfair, because I called Wayfair. They said, no, that's not us. And their email address was some random letters and numbers at 123.com. So right there's a way you can catch it, hopefully nip it in the bud. But I got my money back from PayPal, and PayPal didn't. Amex said they would have investigated it. So if PayPal rejects, or says, no, we're not going to give you your money back, you can go to so never use your debit card, because that money's gone. So always use your credit card, and they usually have a fraud department, and they'll investigate it. And they were able to prove that this was a scam. But be careful.
It affects everyone, absolutely everyone.
You never know. You never
nobody's
know.
immune. So these are great resources, Judy, and thank you for the information. Thank you for all who are here that attended. Look out for our next webinar. And again, we'll have it on, we'll have an opportunity to replay with some of the information that Judy had mentioned about handouts. So thanks, everyone. Enjoy the day. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much, Judy.
Thank you.